going off script doesn't mean, so let's define that. What does going off script mean? Does it mean shifting the timeline a little bit? Going off script does not mean changing the workout. Going off script does not mean coming up with your own progressions. Going off script does not mean, coming up with new movements and doing weird stuff like that. So for me personally, I guess it's how you determine that and how you interpret what going off script is. Hi guys, welcome back to Jerk Block Talk. I'm Jason Fernandez. We're here at CrossFit Rife, and today I want to answer a question that I got from somebody about a previous video, and it was with regard to session plans. And the question was targeted towards like, hey, how frequently or to what degree is it okay for a coach to go off script? So first and foremost, if you're not kind of writing session plans or you're not going off some sort of pre-written session plan, I highly recommend it. It's going to make you much more organized. You're probably going to learn some things when doing that, and then you're going to find out what works and what doesn't work. But the important thing is there it will be objective. It will be off something that you've created, and then you can go in and reevaluate it and retool it and move forward. So what we do is we have session plans that everybody has access to. If you are not aware of warm-up and workout, we transitioned to start using that programming about a little over a year ago, I think. I love it. I just got tired of programming. It wasn't the best use of my time at that point, so we outsourced it. Check it out. Pat, Taz, really, really sharp and provide a really, really great product. Now, when is it okay for a coach to go off script? It depends. I wish there was a really black and white answer for you, but it's kind of in the gray, with the exception of new coaches in my mind. In my opinion, new coaches, interns, don't go off script. They stay on script. And the reason is this: they have to earn the right to go off script. They have to prove to me that they can follow this by the book, that they can get this information out, that they can clearly and concisely distribute that information properly, on time, while managing the group and having a good time. If they can't do those things with the predetermined script that you've given them, they should not be going off script. That's just my personal opinion. Once they've determined that they can do that repeatedly, it's no different than having an athlete, guys. Like, if you want more weight on the bar, you have to earn it. If you want to go off script, you have to earn it. You can't just go all crazy and make up crazy shit in your warm-up because you think it's cool and it's fun at the expense of the workout. So what we have here is, this is kind of a very, very abbreviated timeline for a session plan, and this is actually the timeline for today's workout at our gym. So 5 minutes on the brief, 10 minutes on the general warm-up, 5 to 7 on the specific warm-up. It's push press today. Then we're going to go 10 minutes into kind of prepping for the WOD, making sure people are moving the barbells appropriately, make sure they have the right weight, their stuff set up, who's going where and what squat racks and things of that nature. 25 minutes to get it done, and then 3 to 5 minutes on the back end, cool down and clean up. So here's the way you can objectively kind of get this point across if somebody is repeatedly going off script. You're just going to give them evaluation, and if you're not familiar with the video on like how to give somebody evaluation, I'll link it up right here. Give them an evaluation. If they're way off of the mark on all of these things, it's really, really easy to give that information to them based on the predetermined objectives. If you just kind of say, hey, that wasn't a great class and you went off script and I didn't really like it, that's subjective, which if you're the boss, that's completely within your rights to do that, but it's probably not going to be received as well as if you're like, hey, based on what we want to accomplish, you only got 2, of the 6 things checked. And the timeline was off, so you were way behind because your brief was way too long, your warm-up was way too short, and then we had to end the workout early. That is when it's very, very clear that it's not okay to go off script. So But if you have an experienced coach and they're just like, hey, they're getting the vibe from the class and they'll be like, oh, I need to do something to spice this up, and they go off script a little bit and get everybody back in the game, great, do that. But by and large, what I would tell you is that it should not be happening all the time. We give our coaches leeway within this overall script to shift and adjust and be themselves. I want them to be themselves. I want them to be themselves within the confines of our structure, but I want them to be themselves. As long as they're getting these things accomplished, I give them the leeway to go off script a little bit. But again, not really, really gross deviations. Going off script doesn't mean, so let's define that. What does going off script mean? Does it mean shifting the timeline a little bit? Going off script does not mean changing the workout. Going off script does not mean coming up with your own progressions. Going off script does not mean, coming up with new movements and doing weird stuff like that. So for me personally, I guess it's how you determine that and how you interpret what going off script is. If it's just kind of shifting the timetable a little bit to fit the coach's personality, the size of the class, the feel that you're getting from the class, totally acceptable in my mind. If going off script is fundamentally changing the meat and potatoes of the workout, that is not okay. That should not be allowed for a lot of reasons. Ultimately, what I'm going to have is this huge discrepancy from class to class where, the 9 a.m. class, for instance, not going to get the same thing that the noon class or the 3 p.m. class got. And in my mind, that's probably not okay. Is it okay like once in a blue moon? Sure, for any number of reasons that we couldn't predict. It's okay occasionally. But if it's happening all the time, that's a problem. You probably need to rein that in. And the easiest way to do that is, provide them a session plan first. Give that to them and then give them an evaluation. And if you want to give them a series of evaluation and see if you can rein that in piece by piece, and go and do that. That's probably easier and be like, hey dude, don't do that because I just didn't like it. Give them something with which to work with. And when you give that feedback about when your coach is going off script, feel free to tell them what was good and bad about it. And this is where I think it's where I want my coaches to be themselves. Like, you can learn a lot from your coaches. I learn stuff from my coaches all the time. And if you never let them go off script, you never have the ability to learn things from them. So again, it's not a never type deal. It just has to be within kind of predetermined parameters. So you can learn and say, hey, listen, this was really cool. I love that you did that. I'm stealing it and I'm going to use it in my classes. That was awesome. However, when you change these two things or whatever, this is what went wrong, and this is why your timeline was off, and this is why the workout was cut short, and this is why this is where you didn't actually teach the right progression. Those things are not acceptable as far as I'm concerned. So take a look at it, and then you can kind of give some soft, parameters on like how frequently that is acceptable to you in your gym for your coaching staff. Again, my coaches pretty much know the deal. At the end of the day, what really needs to happen is like the workout needs to get accomplished. They need to have appropriate time in like 3 basic areas: warm up, the workout, and cool down. But I give them a decent amount of flexibility within there to play around with some of their warm-ups because we're always trying to find different, better, more fun ways to do the warm-up, because it's really, really easy to get in a rut and just do the same thing over and over and over. So it's not a never. Just put it in some sort of box and define it, and then just have frequent conversations with your coaches. Be like, hey, look, it's cool if you do that, but if we're not accomplishing the task at hand at the end of the day, then it's not okay. So it's kind of like you give them enough rope to hang themselves, and when they hang themselves, you really got to let them know that it's not cool. So I hope that helps. I have gone through that kind of problem myself, and this was pretty much how we handled it. So I hope it's helpful. If you like this content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.